Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and a brand new video on Marvel Contest of Champions. I am going to show you my Masteries today. Yes, because I haven't done that in a long time, where I'm going to show what Mastery build I'm rocking at the moment. In particular, this one I've just changed to, so if you were in my speedrun stream, you'll know that I've changed to a Suicide Masteries. But I think a lot of people will then want to ask the question, why, how, with regards to Suicide Masteries. The reason we call them Suicide Masteries, it's all based on loss of health to maximize damage. And obviously it makes light work of targets. So why do we really use it? I think it's really based on arena grind. Arena grind is one of the most laborious tasks in the game, but at the same time it can be made a little bit easier if you've got Suicide Masteries, because in a very kind of quick kind of circumstance you can actually finish battles so much more quickly. Suicide Masteries have applications to things like speed runs. Obviously it quickens the speed that you're kind of working at based on obviously damage that the enemy is taking. So where say I would have my Captain Marvel and unboosted, I would probably say be doing about 2 to 5k if I got the right kind of attack bonus. Then when it comes to putting on a boost and then doing a speed run, you're probably looking at, and with Suicide Masteries, about like 9k on a crit. So it's like a big jump up with that. And obviously a lot of people will use the benefit of that. When I put out a video with regards to a guide for a Legends run, it was really gratifying to have someone come back to me and say, do you know what, I used a lot of the tips that you said in that video and they got a Legends title out of it. So that is a bit gratifying, and thank you very much to that person. I'm also finding it quite helpful to use in the uncollected monthly game mode. I didn't think that would be a thing, but I'm finding it more easier than I did my first run in. I don't plan to keep these Suicide Masteries for long. So I think when it comes to like January time, or maybe when I start doing Act 5, I probably won't have the Suicides on. Just going to benefit the way that I'm kind of working with that game mode. But it certainly is handy having it when you want to do an intense amount of arena in one good sitting. And that's what I want to do over this Christmas period, is do so much more arena than I normally do, in order to get loads more battle chips and also kind of just finish it a lot quicker. I think Suicides for me are going to be great for the holiday period with regards to grind time. I'm finding Modok Labs as well is a lot more easier by having Suicides. Again, that's my own personal preference, yours will differ. And I think it's now time to talk a bit about these Suicide Masteries. This is my setup with regards to Suicide Masteries, and obviously other people's will differ, and obviously take it as you want, but at the same time, if someone's got a link to something that they think is better, then please put it in the comment section below. Let's begin with utility, because obviously this is the most easiest thing to explain because there's not much in there. Obviously we have to have limber in order to open up everything, and then dexterity because, well, we need dexterity. Also, we need parry. These are kind of quintessential things that every player needs in the game. And the only other thing that I've done is really with Stupefy. So when your champions inflict stun, it lasts 0.3 seconds longer. And obviously that's just great. But at the same time, you know, it could mean I can get another hit in, which is an extensive amount of damage. Could be like more like a crit. It could be really better for me with regards to like finishing off the enemy. Either way, you know, it doesn't really mean much, 0.3 seconds, but 0.3 seconds is the difference between a champion left alive, the enemy left alive, and the champion dead. And with the next part being like half a second in total with regards to extra stun, yeah, I mean, it's just my own preference with that. Other people will differ with regards to it. Let's go offensive, and as you can see, strength, you know, you've got to open up. Yes, you've got to do greater strength to unlock the other things. A bit questionable with courage. However, though, I am experimenting with some things with regards to Nightcrawler below 50%. I was kind of messing about with something last night, and it was just like outputting some amazing damage. So I want to kind of try that out further. But at the same time, this can be really cool, especially if you want to keep your champions low. I'm talking like a constant 50% health. Champions like Captain Marvel, you know, like I said, even Nightcrawler. Champions that are kind of like they trigger something. Oh, Hulk, that's a good example of keeping him below 25% and you're outputting a huge amount of damage. So yeah, courage can really work well around certain champions. One thing when speed is of the essence, Pierce is quite good with regards to hitting, say, blocked targets, you know, champions that get a lot of armor, because sometimes you need to bypass that. It's not like a be all and end all thing, but it is something that's, you know, it's going to strip down the enemy's armor. And then opens up some stuff with regards to getting over to precision and cruelty. I think I made the mistake with putting stuff on lesser precision and lesser cruelty. So it was just more effective to go through those and have those 2 5s up there for that. Glass cannon is one of these, you know, iffy ones, because obviously, as you know, and as you said here, 7.2% attack increase, but at the same time we lose 7.2% health, so there's a bit of a disappointment there. However, though, if you're focused on quick action and quick downing the enemy, you won't really care about that health loss. It's not going to be too bad to you. Recoil is a bit of a pain in the ass, because if you've got a strong special attack and you're hitting it off, then obviously you're going to recoil damage, which is annoying. It is one of the most frustrating things about having Suicide Masteries, but he's one of these necessities, especially because it unlocks the next stuff, and it's reasonably good. It's just that disappointment of kind of like having your health, and especially when you're on the ropes, and say that you could put in a special in order to kind of get them, but at the same time, if you then leave, it's like saying, okay, I've got 5 to 10% health left. There is a Punisher. He is on low health. You hit him with a special and he gets endured, and you're then like, damn, because then you'll probably recoil and like die. It's only very rarely that I've found that I suffer from, let's say, recoilness, where you get, you know, hit for the amount of damage that you weren't expecting and you're dead and you're not able to kind of win the fight, and you're just like, oh man, I could have won that fight. So sometimes you may have to then opt for just kind of like hitting them to heck and winning that way, but still, you know, look out for recoil, which obviously unlocks the next two. Next up, we've got Liquid Courage and we've got Double Edge. Two things that kind of really maximize your damage output, but at the same time you are taking a loss with this. And obviously the first thing is all about taking poison damage. One thing that I must point out, going up against Archangel can be a real ball ache, especially with having suicides, because if you consider the fact that now you've put on something that is effectively a poison, that he then responds in kind with delivering some neurotoxin pain to you. But at the same time, you know, having something like this is kind of output of high attack is so cool. I really kind of resonate with this and kind of go like, yeah, I want to put in a major amount of damage, but at the same time it's kind of crap seeing those poison and bleed symbols up there, but they're going to mean that you're going to be outputting so much more damage. And this is why it's so helpful in the game to say, right, I want an intense arena grind, but I don't want to make it just like so laborious. So therefore, it's just like I'm doing less amount of time grind, but I'm maximizing what I get out of arena. Then obviously, like we said, like suicides is something for you. I had suicides probably back in early 2016, and actually it may be in late 2015. But at the same time, you know, I'm like, this was cool. It was cool for a while to have suicides, and then I switched back out to a normal mastery setup, and it worked quite well for me with regards to suicides. I just kind of felt that I needed to change it based on certain game stuffs that were there and maybe overall performance. The final two aspects are deep wounds and assassination. Deep wounds I love, and obviously I can get this at the rank 5. And then the same thing with assassination. I think I've got that rank 5 with regards to my standard masteries. Both things are quite helpful, but at the same time, they're not going to make a big difference. Having one in deep wounds is alright, but it's not going to make a big difference to your kind of like bleeding. At the same time, with regards to assassin, yeah, okay, it's going to do something with regards to like finishing off the enemy, but it's not going to be so substantial with 2 in there. Obviously, the higher, the better, but at the same time, this is what suicide is all about. It's all about maximizing the attack side of things, rather than the finishing off and bleeding side of things. And finally, on to defense. We start off with vitality, we then move on to greater vitality, and obviously those are just to unlock the next things, which is salve, and then we've got recovery. The reason that we get salve and recovery is based on the fact that you are taking damage by those two things, liquid courage and double edge, and because you're taking damage, you need to maximize, or more likely kind of level out, I think the correct word is, level out the damage that you're taking, and therefore that you're not completely dying. And the reason they call it suicide is because sometimes those don't match up. You may be a case that you're one off, say it's like it's 49 to 50, 50 being you are losing 50 health a time, against 49 you're kind of gaining back up, and obviously it's all of a case of like a balancing act with that. you don't want to take a full 50. You want to make sure that you're at least recovering something. So that's why those two are unlocked at the top. To the bottom, again, questionable ones, because block proficiency and perfect block, two things that are going to help minimize the damage from a kind of a rushing point of view. So if they rush in towards you, obviously they're attacking you, so to speak, that you don't want to take quite so much damage. And these two things are helpful in some ways to kind of reduce that damage that you're taking. Willpower back in the day used to be so much more powerful than this, but still is somewhat helpful when it comes to detrimental effects. So, you know, your poisons, your bleeds, your shocks, your anything that's going to hurt you, and that is cool to have that, because it's going to mean that you're going to be able to gain back some health. And also there's a little bit of armor, but at the same time, it's just something that's going to help, again, minimize damage you're taking, similar to recovery, and helpful in the same ways as, say, block proficiency and perfect block, which then unlocks Coagulate. And it's your champions take 20% less damage from any bleed effect they suffer. Somewhat helpful. At the same time, it's good for the double edge. So that's really the reason that we do it, to kind of minimize damage taken from the double edge, because that is pretty darn annoying to have a double edge bleeding you out of health. So that really concludes the Suicide Masteries that I've got at the moment. Like I said, this isn't the perfect Suicide Masteries, but at the same time, other people will have difference of opinions with regards to that, and obviously put that in the comment section. Links to sources that maybe would help out other players who are considering a Suicide Masteries. Suicide Masteries aren't incredibly effective for things like Alliance Wars. I haven't gotten on well with them with regards to Alliance Quest. They're fairly easy to kind of switch out with certain things in order to kind of minimize the amount of damage you're taking. I've seen great sources from people talking about the idea of switchblades. I've seen Dave talk about that, Ronan Noop, and that idea that you can switch between them quite easily is a quite cool concept. But I do think that if you want to do a huge amount of grinding, and December's a good time for it, and you don't want to, you know, say you're not doing too much Alliance Wars in your Alliance, then Suicides may be an option for the holiday period. So that's been a video on Suicide Masteries. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions based content, and as always, I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye bye for now.